TIFU by telling my daughter she can say anything during a game of Say Anythingi. Thought me lying in bed mortified. Narrator: you're probably wondering how I got here. It all started when I let my 10-year-old watch Mean Girls a few weeks ago. Maybe an FUP in some people's eyes, but I love that movie. She asked, "What is your muffin buttered?" meant. I believe when your kid asks questions, you as a parent should answer them honestly, so they will keep asking you instead of asking kids who don't know what they're talking about. I told her it's another way of asking if you've had sex with someone. I shared a fun fact that the line was supposed to actually be, "Is your cherry popped?" Quote, which is a more common term for losing your virginity. I thought nothing more of the subject. Fast forward to Christmas Eve and we're at my very conservative in-laws' house playing a game of Say Anything. The game goes as follows. Everyone takes turns being the picker. The picker gets a card and reads a question aloud. The rest of the players write down an answer on a mini dry erase board they think the picker will choose. When you write down your answer, you place it on the table face up. The picker secretly picks their favorite and writes it on their board and places it face down on the table. Everyone guesses what they think the picker's favorite answer is by placing colored tokens on the mini board. It was my 14-year-old niece's turn as the picker, and her card said, "What is the worst question you can ask someone on a first date?" My niece says, "Don't make it PG rated just because I'm young. I want it to be funny." My 10-year-old says, "I have a funny answer, but I don't know if I can say it." I thought, how bad can it be? She's in 5th grade. I confidently said, "It's okay. You can write it." Lo and behold, there on the yellow mini dry erase board in moderately legible handwriting with 2 little cherries for adornment, "Is your cherry popped?" OMG, I did. Thankfully my in-laws have come a long way and were able to laugh it off. Eventually, it became a callback later in the game when my brother-in-law's question was, "What would be the worst thing for the driver to say to you when you get into a cab?" My mother-in-law answered, the answer Talia gave a few minutes ago. Quote, TLDR. I told my 10-year-old daughter she could put down whatever she wanted as an answer to a game question. She ended up using a sexual innuendo in front of my conservative in-laws. The time for children to understand innuendos about sexual activity is long before they need to know the realities of sexual activity. Age appropriate, of course, but they should know what is meant when adults talk this way, or they will be more vulnerable to those who depend on naivete to groom them for assault. I like the MIL's sense of humor. Honestly, it's better for kids to know what this stuff means, especially if they're online. You did good. Teaching your kid to be open and honest will reap benefits for their whole life. Teaching them to hide their thoughts and not express themselves will only end up messing them up later. Conservative. Read prudish. Relatives can keep their own issues to themselves. IDK man, it wasn't weird to me until you had to double down with the popped cherry bit. Being open with your kids will make them understand when they hear it again. Hopefully not from someone trying to take advantage of them. I believe that helps them mature without taboos. Reminds me of when I was about your daughter's age. I was watching Billy Madison with my parents and I asked them why he laughed when the teacher said, "Turn to page 69 inches." Like you. My mom believed in answering those questions in an age-appropriate manner. So, she took out a piece of paper and wrote the number 69 and then pointed accordingly. Imagine this is the woman's head and this is the man's head. Although I left that conversation even more confused why people would lay in positions like that, and figured it was just an odd way of cuddling and that adults were weird. Lol. You did great op. Wish more parents weren't so squeamish and uptight. It is amazing how easy it is to just answer kids' questions directly when they're young. Rarely do they ask to get into the nitty-gritty. That said, I love it when prudish people don't give their kids a straight answer. The kids know. Well, maybe not know, but they intuit their parents' reticence. And will push harder because their reptilian brains trigger on the withholding. Of course, over the 150,000 years of modern Homo sapiens development, preparing for the worst has made them effective at the trait. The other thing we did that worked for us was we never used the expression, bad words. As literate adults, we know there are no such things as bad words. There are misspelled words. There are ambiguous words. There are words used out of context, etc. Most importantly, there are words that are inappropriate in most contexts. The words are never bad. However, your life is just easier if you don't say them until you see how others who use such words are rewarded or punished for doing so. In return for this openness, we have bright and curious kids who are wicked smart at wordplay. Smile. You set her up. LPT. If you really want to be on her side, you gotta follow it up with, I don't mind if you say that stuff around me, but there are other people who may get upset if they hear anyone say it. So I don't say that around most people. Reminds me of a time when I was about 9 and my older brother was 11. My mom had just taught us about basic sex. She had some weird cartoon book about it and let us ask questions and all that jazz. Well, I asked her the next day, what is oral sex all about? She explained it in a way a 9-year-old could understand. Can't remember the explanation to this day. But my father got home from work that night and we were all eating dinner and I just blurted out to everyone, I know all about Oriental sex. Quote, no one has let me live that moment down to this day. I mean, I've played Cards Against Humanity with our kids since they were like 11. Dirty stuff is funny. And I assure you, middle schoolers are not unaware of that. You didn't say whether your niece picked her cousin's answer. Your daughter isn't wrong. Dude, great job. My daughter is 17 and heading off to college, but for a solid decade just about we have had an anything goes, open, real conversation status. Especially at the dinner table. It's where all the innuendo, sex, drug questions can come out. A safe place. She knew the time and place and weaponized it. Your daughter will go far. Buttering the biscuit is a reference to what is now commonly referred to as a cream pie. The more you know. This is gold, but you might want to edit the paragraph before the TL, Dr. renames. This is the most annoying style of creative writing I've ever seen. I vomited reading the cringe narrator intro. Your in-laws suck, not the kid.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.